Francisco. I'm your host, Alexis Morgan, and I am joined by some very special guests. We've got Ronnie2k. Everybody from the 2K community
What's up,
knows
everyone?
him. And then we also have 2K TV host Chris Manning. We are talking all about 2K ratings today. It's going to be an exciting show.
I mean, this is always something that everyone looks forward to, gamers and players alike. I know there's a bunch of NBA players watching, getting ready to be very angry about their rating, I'm sure. But no, this is a celebration of the best, and everybody's looking for the next in NBA 2K20.
And what an amazing time with all the offseason moves, the amazing offseason moves. It's just going to be crazy. What a landscape for NBA 2K20. So many teams, so much parity in the league now. I think fans are going to have a lot to work with when this next game comes out.
Yeah, you guys talked about the off-season moves. Well, it seems like a two-star league now. So we've got some new dynamic duos that we want to take a look at their ratings. At number 4, we have Harden and Russ at the Houston Rockets.
Let's just get right into this. The Rockets, obviously this trade just happened a couple days ago, getting these two back together after the OKC days. The average overall rating is a 93. I'm sure Harden is very excited that his buddy Russell Westbrook has joined him back in Houston.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting for both inside the game and in real life. Two of players that have two of the highest usage ratings in NBA history. So I think 2K fans are really going to enjoy both of these guys, both dominant ISO players, and they're going to be a lot of fun to use on NBA 2K20.
As long as they can learn how to share the ball, we'll see.
Well, let's move on to number 3, and that is a new Brooklyn Nets duo, KD and Kyrie. This is going to be an exciting one to watch next year after KD comes back from injury.
Of course, the average is a 93.5. Getting these together, I mean, these are what these two wanted, having Kevin and Kyrie. Both of them, I mean, it's been talked about for a long time, and they're finally together. Obviously, we're going to have to wait for Kevin's return to the court, but it's going to be an interesting pair, and we'll also see how Kyrie handles Kevin's absence. It's going to be very interesting, but a really fun team to play in NBA 2K.
Yeah, a deep roster, and Kyrie's really going to get to be able to get in there and kind of work with some of these young guys, and then obviously the whole world is awaiting Kevin Durant's return, and we're kind of rooting for him to get back on the court. But that's a really interesting duo, and really makes Brooklyn
We need
an
to
exciting
discuss
team.
if they're the third best one. I think that we got to have a conversation
interesting.
about that.
Okay, well, at number 2, don't get mad at me, Lakers fan. We've got Kawhi and PG with the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, 95 composite rating. PG obviously coming from a top 3 MVP finalist, and then Kawhi Leonard, what can you say about his playoff run? The two of them together going to Clipperland, it's going to be very, very fascinating to watch, and they're going to be a lot of fun to play in NBA 2K20.
Two of the best two-way players in the league now on the same team, joining Patrick Beverley. All I got to say is if you're an off-ball player in 2K, this is your team because that defense is going to be ridiculous on the perimeter.
Good call, for sure.
All right, number 1 seems a little obvious, right? LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who is joining us later on the show, may I say.
That's awesome.
So I'm excited for him to come through as well.
95.5, just edging out the Clipperland duo. I mean, this is the team that everybody wants to watch. It's the most talked about thing in the offseason, and you know we're introducing the next with NBA 2K20, and it's going to be amazing to have those two guys together on the same squad. And I'll just add, you know, all these dynamic duos are new. These aren't, you know, there's no Steph and Clay, there's no other existing ones. This is all new for NBA 2K20, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, I mean, again, the parity in the league has shifted with just such a crazy offseason. So you look at now the acquisition of Anthony Davis in his prime, 26 years old, joining the king, LeBron. And, you know, I think the whole world is kind of has their eyes on both LA teams, but the Lakers specifically.
So let's look at a summary of those dynamic duos. You said we need to have a conversation about KD and Kyrie being number 3. Let's have it right now.
I mean, how do you really move them up with the two in front of them? But that squad is going to be really, really dangerous. I mean, there's nothing that Kevin can't do on the court, and Kyrie is one of the best ball handlers in NBA history. So that's an interesting one. Coming off the injury, could that one slide up? Probably, and it's going to be exciting to watch the 4. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, it's really an unbelievable list. I mean, I think, again, like for players that are jumping into 2K20, having James Harden and Russell Westbrook on the same team, that's like a dream come true. That's like a my team right there. Then you start these pairings with all these new players. You got AD and LeBron. You got Kawhi and Paul George. It's you know, so many teams that players are going to be able to hop into and have a chance to really defeat their competition with so much parity in the league. It's really exciting.
We're going to get into the individual ratings of all these guys in a little bit, obviously, but we wanted to show this new dynamic, so that's why this dynamic duo thing was really important for us to lead the broadcast off with.
It reminds me of like the early 2000s on steroids, right? It's like so much great talent spread across the league now, and I think that's going to be really fun for 2K20.
For sure.
Well, we polled the 2K community earlier today, and we asked them who they thought that the highest rated duo would be. So let's take a look at that poll right now. And the community said LeBron and AD at 63%. I think that everybody is in agreement with this one.
As it should be.
I can't believe it's that different. What a divergence. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, the other three are very, very strong, but obviously, clearly, LeBron and AD have the nose on everyone else.
I was surprised at 8% with the KD and Kyrie.
That's stunning to me. But maybe people are thinking because Kevin's
right.
you know, coming off the injury, that team is going to be interesting once he gets back.
Well, we have a fun video coming up. We've got Ben Simmons fresh off of a new $170 million contract with the 76ers. Let's see what he says about his 2K rating.
I think at the end of the season, my rating is going to be 90 plus for sure, and I can guarantee that.
Oh, boy.
He says he wants to get above a 90.
Yep.
He's at an 87 right now.
So here's the thing. I've run into Ben all the time, and he always starts off with Magic Johnson, Oscar Robertson, Ben Simmons, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's always like only people that had 30-plus triple-doubles in their rookie year. He is very fascinated with his rating. So he just missed the top 20, which we're going to get into in a little bit. But, I mean, if the guy ever develops a shot, absolutely he's in that conversation. Like a really, really strong shot. He's got to shoot.
And there's so many things that go into the ratings. I think you have to almost ding him on the fact that he hasn't developed a consistent jump shot. But an 87 for Ben, I mean, he does everything else right.
Totally.
So he is now the future and the heart and soul of Philadelphia alongside Joel Embiid. And don't forget they got Al Horford too. So I think they got better in the offseason. And again, it's going to be a really fun team to play in 2K. But you know, 3-point shooting is really the big question there for that team.
When we revisit this next season, I'm excited to see if he is above a 90.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely going to work for it. A lot of these NBA players really keeps heat of this stuff, so it should be interesting.
All right, let's move on. Let's dive into the top 20. You guys ready? These guys are on the bubble. At number 20, we've got Blake Griffin.
So Blake is an 88, and he, you know, it's funny. He started as an 84 last year, and he put out a tweet that said ... And
that was in response.
In response to me posting it. All these NBA players get mad about it, like we said. But he was really fired up, and then he went out and had an amazing season. So he worked for that rating, and it might only go up. I mean, Detroit's on the rise for sure.
Yeah, they're on the rise, and I think he's going to actually have a better season than he had last season. So I think now with the roster being set, they know he's going to be there. I think there's going to be some interesting things that he can do to get his rating above an 88. So I think that's about right. An 88 sounds good.
Totally.
Up next, we have 2019 NBA Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, Rudy Gobert also clocks in at an 88. Chris, you should talk about that in a second. But Rudy, Defensive Player of the Year. It's also very important to him. I actually saw him on Tuesday, and he was like, "What's my rating? What's my rating?" And then so it's always a fascinating thing for these guys to wait for. I think Utah is definitely on the rise, adding Mike Conley. So that team's going to be fun, and having the Defensive Player of the Year as your anchor is pretty exciting.
Yeah, and also Bogdanovich. Don't forget about him.
For
so
sure.
Utah got a lot better in the offseason. And it's interesting to see you have two guys, and I think the public always talks about that one rating, but talking to the ratings team, you know, I learned a lot of things about the formulas and the stuff that goes behind the ratings, and sometimes you'll have a rating that they'll round up or down. So you'll have the same number, but behind the scenes, or under the hood rather, you have all these different factors that go into it. So obviously Rudy Gobert has a lot of defensive factors that go into his rating that will elevate him maybe a little bit above his offense. But it's interesting to see where Utah can go and just Gobert at an 88 seems really good to me.
Let's go to number 18. We've got another Utah Jazz player, Donovan Mitchell, 3rd year in the NBA, and he's at an 88. That's very good.
I mean, he's had a heck of a rise.
Yes, he
his second year, he was an 87. He's bumped it up. He had a really good second half last year after kind of a bumpy.
Right, I remember that.
Kind of a bumpy first half. But again, Utah is going to be on the rise. But Donovan is obviously can do anything with the ball. One of the best offensive players in the league. Should be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, he's on the rise, and he's only going to get better. He's one that I completely anticipate going up
for sure
and getting above that 90 this year.
Number 17, Kemba Walker, newest Boston Celtic.
Yeah, I mean, nobody talked. This is kind of one of those interesting. Are they part of a dynamic duo with him and Tatum? Really interesting kind of squad that Boston's building. But Kemba, I think he's found a home in Boston. Obviously, going to be there for the long term, but very exciting. And this screenshot is super dope.
Yeah, you can see some of that new lighting that I think fans are going to really like with NBA 2K20. And, you know, a thing about Kemba that's also interesting is he did so much for the Hornets, both on and off the court. He's going to be a great locker room presence for a team that had a little bit of roughness when it came to the locker room. So I think he's going to bring some stability to the younger guys in Boston.
It's a great call.
All right, moving on to number 16. It's probably on the beach, soaking up the sun, Jimmy Butler.
I mean, I wonder how hot Jimmy Butler is going to be about his 88 overall rating.
He's in the sun. He probably won't mind.
He's probably chilling. But 88, Jimmy Butler he's kind of the central figure now. What he wanted, obviously, he had a really tumultuous year between the T-Wolves and then, in the 76ers. So it'll be interesting. Will he get hot for the Miami Heat?
Ooh,
I like it. Nice pun. Yeah, I mean, it's his team. It's where he wants to be. For one of the first times in his career, he's got to choose where he wants to go. So coming to Miami, he's the guy. He's the main guy. Now the big question is he going to be joined by someone like, I don't know, Chris Paul? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, let's go to number 15. Your good friend and big NBA 2K player, Karl Anthony Towns.
Cat, the big man, at an 89. I'm sure he was thinking he would be a 90 plus, and he just missed the boat. But Cat is, I mean, we talked about central figures on the team. He is now the guy. I mean, there's Wiggins there, but this is his team. He signed a long-term deal. There's urgency to win. It'll be interesting. The T-Wolves, the rest of the roster is kind of shaky, but I think Cat is going to have. He's been working. He's been working in that gym.
He's been working, and he also put out a tweet not too long ago that said, Minnesota deserves better. And, he's been putting up the work, like you said, and I think he's serious about getting them back in playoff contention and, competing for a championship. And he's another guy. I think he can only go up. Cat he's just now entering his prime, I think.
So
and,
fundamentally
he's gonna get just much better. So I think Minnesota is going to be a fun team to keep an eye on.
Moving on to number 14, we have KLAY Thompson. He's coming off of an injury.
Yep.
Probably going to miss a lot of next season, but he is at an 89.
Yeah, and you can't deny, obviously, the shooter that KLAY is and a two-way player through and through. The Warriors are going to miss him immensely. But an 89 seems like the right place for him, and hopefully KLAY comes back and is better than ever.
Yeah, another player we're rooting to come back for. I think the whole NBA world wants him to come back strong and better than ever. And 89, it seems about right, and he's coming off an injury, so that's always in question. But
the shooters are going to shoot, man.
Another fun fact, we don't have a screenshot for KLAY because the Warriors are actually going to have new uniforms next year and also going into that new arena. So no screenshot for KLAY quite yet, but I know fans are going to be excited to see that pretty soon.
All right, coming up at number 13, we have Russell Westbrook, and we have a live tweet from the 2K community. Let's take a look at that. My favorite player, Russell. I think he should be a 94. Woof. Because he's done some crazy things this season, like getting the most triple-doubles in a row and getting a 20-20-20. It was technically 21, but we'll let it slide. And other stuff. Yeah, what it do, baby? How was my Kawhi impression?
I mean, the
8 out of 10? Come on, we're rating here.
No.
Oh.
Definitely not. I'd give that probably a 45. So Russell Westbrook going back to his old teammate James Harden, and it's going to be so exciting to watch those two play together. But usage rate and there was some slippage in the game. Obviously, he still averaged a triple-double, but Russell's getting a little bit older, and he's kind of in win now.
He's a 90.
It's going to be interesting. He's a 90. but obviously that fan wanted him to be a 94.
Right.
I think that plays in.
Yeah, he's also one of the most polarizing players in the NBA. You
Yeah.
either love his game or you hate his game. There's no in between. It's like one or the other. It's so extreme. So him going to a new team, and let's not forget how many people have averaged a triple-double in NBA history. Only one other in Oscar Robertson. So to do it for multiple seasons in today's NBA, I don't care what anybody says. That's so impressive. So it'll be interesting to now put him next to James Harden. Again, 2 of the highest usage rates in NBA history. It's just, can they figure it out?
How crazy
Big
is
question.
it that we have over a dozen players over a guy that averaged a triple-double?
That's insane.
It's just the best time in the NBA. It's just such a great time for the league.
And for 2K20 players, I know they're going to just absolutely love having 2 ISO gods on one team. Like, that's like the ideal thing for those,
And they got some shooters too.
Playground players.
The Rockets are interesting.
All right, let's move on to number 12, Nikola Jokic.
Nikola Jokic is a 90, obviously the big man that can kind of do everything, passer, scores. He's probably one of the best passing big men, definitely in today's NBA, but even historically. Kind of shaky on the defensive end, which I think hurt him in his overall rating. But he's got kind of a dynamic duo, an old dynamic duo with Jamal Murray as Denver looks to repeat
like
on that 2 seed. Yeah, it's going to be, that's a fun team.
And Denver's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
Made a deep playoff run. They're probably only going to get better. And I think, the Joker at a 90 makes a lot of sense. He's one of the best big men in the league and just incredible talent.
At number 11, we have Kyrie Irving. He probably already knew his NBA 2K rating before because he has that premonition, but he's at a 91.
I mean, thank God he's a 91 because last year when we told him, or 2 years ago when we told him he was an 89, he almost blew a gasket on me. So, but 11 is number 11 in our ratings, and obviously very excited. He's home, right?
Yep. He's where he wants to be.
He's where he wants to be.
He's a Brooklyn Net, and he brought KD with him. So they didn't have that bad of an offseason. I wonder if the community feels that a 91 will be too high, just based on his performance with the Celtics in the playoffs. That's one that I've been seeing debated back and forth on Twitter all day. So that'll be an interesting one to see what the fans
He's
think
alone
about
for a while, too, so it'll be interesting with
is.
the usage, what his rating looks like by the end of the year.
Okay, so let's look at the guys on the bubble that we just talked about. What do you guys think? 88 for Blake, and then a 91, only separated by 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really lumped in this little category, and I mean, there's not a lot of separation here. I would maybe, kind of think about bumping Westbrook down 1 point and maybe moving Kemba Walker up a point or 2. That's really about it. I think this is pretty spot on. I feel pretty good about it. And then maybe the Kyrie thing, maybe a point lower.
Yeah, and you look at all these player ratings, and it just, again, the parity throughout the league now, just with this offseason, so many moves that were unexpected, so many players going to different places. I mean, we really might have one of the most competitive leagues ever in this upcoming season. So that directly obviously affects the rosters on NBA 2K20, so it's going to make all those fans of quick matches and just playing the base game with the normal teams.
What do you think about the 10 on the bubble? Guys?
Yeah, no, I think it's pretty accurate. I'm going to always go with 2K. Whatever they say, it goes.
Lexa's smart lady.
I'm a company woman. All right, let's move on to the new guys of the NBA. Let's go to the top 5 rookies. And we're going to start with a tweet from the 2K community. And this guy says that they think Zion should be an 82, Josh should be an 80, and RJ Barrett should be an 80 as well. These are pretty high, I think, for rookies.
Historically, yeah, we've usually had the high-end draft pick rookies in the high 70s, and we've not strayed too far from that, but let's see.
All right, number 5, Darius Garland, 77 overall.
Yeah, Cleveland took him. He's going to be a centerpiece right away. I mean, Cleveland doesn't have a ton of talent, so he's going to have a lot of usage. And I think Darius Garland he had a lot of pre-draft hype, so I think this is a good spot for him.
Yeah, he's going to be a really great player. And I think he's a player that didn't have a lot of games in college because he did get injured, but Darius Garland's going to be one to look out for sure.
Number 4, DeAndre Hunter.
DeAndre Hunter, of course, from the Hawks. The Hawks are building something real special down in Atlanta with all their young talent. John Collins, Trae Young, etc. They're going to be a fun squad, and then DeAndre Hunter could fit right in.
Best young core, in my opinion, in the league. I think it really is. And then you add DeAndre Hunter, obviously, somebody who was a defensive player of the year in college. So now you're adding a defensive beast to that team, which already has the offense in Trae. And yeah, I mean, Atlanta's going to be insane. So DeAndre Hunter going to Atlanta is a huge thing.
You think they'll make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All right, let's take a look at number 3. I think you guys will have a big discussion on this. R.J. Barrett, 78.
R.J. Barrett coming to the New York Knicks was pretty featured heavily in the summer league and had a very, very bumpy summer league. There was a couple moments where he looked really good, but his shooting percentage was low. Summer league doesn't mean everything, so it's not the end of the world. But I'm sure Knicks fans out there are a little horrified. My man Constant is crying at his desk right now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Knicks put together some nice pieces despite not getting that big mega star that they were all hoping for. I like, Randall going to the Knicks is, I think, a great move. And, I think RJ is going to have a really good career. I mean, I like pure scores, obviously.
Yep.
And I think RJ at first had a little bit of a shaky summer league, but finished pretty strong. So, I think he's going to add a lot to the Knicks squad.
Big 2K fan, too, by the way.
Yeah, at number 2, we've got Ja Morant going to the Memphis Grizzlies, joining that young core as well. Could be a young dynamic duo in the future with JJJ, Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah, they got a lot of J's on that team.
They do have a lot of J's.
That team is not going to be very good this year.
Right.
But they are really
putting
it together. No, definitely not. They're doing the full 76ers rebuild. I mean, they got multiple draft picks over the next few years. But he is a great first step. You want to get a young point guard that can play, that's your guy. So, I believe in Memphis in the next few years. I think they're really going to come back in a big way.
Yeah, and we actually talked to Ja on 2K TV, which will be out this Friday. And we talked to
plug.
Yes, nice plug there. You like that? And in addition, we talked to a lot of the rookies that came through in summer league, and Ja was one of those guys that has so much confidence in his game. I think the city of Memphis has a really, really bright future
to look ahead to,
yeah,
for sure.
I mean, he is a guy that has supreme confidence and really, truly loves getting the ball to his teammates, and you'll learn a little bit more about that on 2K TV. So this is kind of part of the process. You're going to notice these players aren't there on screen. We got their ratings, but they're getting put into the game. So the art teams at work
that's what we
getting
were
their
doing in
scans
summer league, getting them all scanned and stuff.
Yeah, it's part of that NBA experience, right? You get drafted, then you're going to get scanned into NBA 2K.
All right, let's go to number 1. I think we all know who this is. Zion Williamson.
I mean, an 81, so I'm sure that's going to be a topic of hot discussion on the social medias. 81. I mean, what can you say about this guy that hasn't already been said? He's been the biggest story pre-draft since LeBron James. Actually, maybe Anthony Davis. One of those two guys. So it's going to be very exciting to watch him emerge, and we'll see if that 81 is the beginning of something really special down the road.
Yeah, and the Pelicans did such a great job of, rebuilding that team after the Anthony Davis trade to the Lakers. So they were able to really put pieces around Zion that are going to help. My boy Lonzo and Ingram and Harden coming over there to help out. And, it's going to be fun watching Lonzo throw up those lobs to
You think they'll make the playoffs?
Zion. They're going to be an interesting team. I mean, they definitely have the pieces.
Close.
JJ Redick going over there. I mean, they put together a really great team. They're going to be fun to run with in 2K, I'll tell you that much. I know fans are really excited to get their hands on NBA 2K20.
Zizo.
Play with Zizo. Hashtag Zizo. Lonzo to Zion.
Should be fun.
And, it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, so let's take a look at the summary of the top 5 rookies. Zion, 81, and then at the bottom we have Darius Garland, 77, so 4 points.
But you have some separation with Zion and Morant.
You do.
And I think that speaks to what we feel could happen with Zion. It's going to be a very exciting year for him ahead.
Yeah,
we didn't get a lot of info on him in summer league though. That was the one thing.
That's true. What do you guys think about the rookie ratings this year for NBA 2K20? There's your top 5 rookies right there. Let us know.
Yeah, use the hashtag 2K ratings when you
exactly.
See
Well,
that plug,
yeah, I
Alexis?
saw that plug.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at a tweet right now. We have a live tweet talking about Zion. Since Zion is the best rookie to ever come into the NBA, he should be at least an 85. 85 is pretty high.
85 is aggressive. It doesn't leave him a lot of room to go up. But, I mean, look, you could definitely make a case that he could be higher than 81. It's just we have to take a judgment call on where we think he's going to net out in this first season.
And this is only the starting point, right?
Yeah.
Like I think people
LeBron
forget.
started in a 78.
Yeah,
when he was
and
drafted.
I think like for fans, like I think that the team does such a great job of monitoring the NBA, which we'll learn a little bit more later in this special. But they do such a great job of looking at the trends and how players are playing and make those decisions. You'll see players rise and fall. I think Zion's only going to go up, up, up.
Well, we're talking about ratings today. Chris, can you tell us a little bit more about the science behind the ratings?
Yeah, so we had a chance to sit down with Mike Stauffer and the ratings team, the people that put together the formulas and all those mechanics behind the ratings, and they took us for a little bit of an inside look, so let's check that out. We are here with 2K Stauffer, the man behind the ratings on NBA 2K. You and your team does such a great job. And I just know if you brought like 5 people in that think they understand a new basketball, they would never agree on an NBA 2K rating, Mike. Like it's one of the most debated things in all of NBA 2K.
Well, everybody's favorite thing to do is debate about whose overall is correct.
Right.
What it's really interesting is it's not just one number that makes up a player's skill in NBA 2K. We have so many different individual attributes and badges even that we look at in determining a player's value in games. We try to, come up with formulas and scales and to make each individual rating be as objective as possible.
How much data do you and your team have to look at? Because I'm sure you look at like a myriad of so much stuff.
It's interesting because each individual attribute might need different sets of data that we're looking at, and it might be a combination of data. At the end of the day, try to get it all together and compile it into one place to get the ratings as accurate as possible.
Now during the season, players emerge, players struggle, how do you look at all those different factors and adjust ratings as the season progresses?
When a player is playing 2K, they feel like they're playing with what they're seeing in the NBA. So if a player's cold, we're gonna adjust it. And if they're playing well, we're gonna raise their rating as well. Now we try to update it as frequently as possible. So like I said, you feel like you're playing with exactly what you see when you watch an NBA game.
Last but not least, so many developers on our team listen to feedback. I know we've talked about this before many times. How do you and the ratings team look at fan feedback?
It's fun. Whenever we see it, it gets us excited. We always like to see, like I said, even if it's the players debating it, or we like to keep a closer eye and just see how they go throughout the year. And because of how many updates there are, it's always interesting to me to see who has had the highest difference from their shift rating to the end of the game, and it's always fun to see kind of how our ratings have reflected the season, so it's something that we're excited about.
Mike Stauffer, thank you for joining us, and I have to say, once we get off the air, I'm still going to try to get my boy Kobe up to a 99, so your day is not over yet.
Oh,
but for now, let's get back to the 2K rating show.
That was awesome insight. Thank you, Chris. But we've got a special guest here, and that's the guy you guys have probably been waiting for. It is Anthony Davis, newest Laker. How does it feel?
It feels amazing. Excited about it. Excited about the new experience, new team, new city. Semi-new.
Yeah,
I live here in the summer, so semi-new, but it's gonna be fun.
Newest Laker, how about newest cover star?
Yes.
NBA 2K20. Where were you when you found out? How did it feel?
Where was I? I don't even remember. It's been a crazy summer.
Yeah,
Crazy summer.
I guess you could say that.
But I was excited about it, honestly. It's something that you always dream of. Obviously I had the opportunity to be on 16 with Steph and James. But to be a solo cover athlete, I think it means more, to me. So I'm excited about it. I can't wait for it to come out.
Yeah, we'll get to celebrate your next chapter.
Right.
You said in your press conference that you actually recorded virtual LeBron throwing virtual AD a lob. So what was that like?
Yeah, so it was through the whole little number process, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know which number I wanted to wear, so I was just throwing numbers on. I'm like, wait, let me put everybody on the team. And so I did the little scrimmage session, and I'm like, all right, wait, let me put LeBron at point. We got LeBron the ball, set a screen, had myself roll to the basket, threw a lob, dunked it. And so wait, let me record this and send this to LeBron. So I start instant replay, and it was recording and sent it to him. Like,
that's awesome.
All season. It's gonna be all
This
season.
is all season.
Love it.
And then he said some explicit stuff back that I can't tell you, but he was excited.
I mean, feel free to reveal. It's just us. It's just
he
the
was
four of us.
excited. So no, it's gonna be fun playing in Staples with him next year.
You played on 2K with LeBron, but what do you think it's going to be like playing with LeBron in real life?
It's gonna be exciting. All the stuff he's able to do on the floor, and you see it from afar when you obviously not on this team. But to be able to be on this team and get a year full of what he's able to do, his leadership, his passing ability, his mindset, how he goes about each game, ability to score. I mean, the guy, was in 8 straight finals or something like that. And except for last year, so I always want to go to the final. I want to win a championship. I think I got a good chance, playing alongside him. So I'm excited about that.
This is, of course, the 2K20 ratings reveal section, so I gotta know.
99.
Well, you
He already knows.
Let me finish the question. 99. All right. Well, let's see. Let's find out.
Let's dive into the top 10 overall rated players. At 10, we have Joel Embiid.
Joel Embiid, a fellow big man of yours, Anthony. 76er. This was a Twitter ratings, it would be 99 for sure.
He might be the first 100.
He'd be the first 100. But what can you not say about this guy? He's obviously extremely talented.
100%. Great player. He's physical. He can do it all on the floor. He can shoot the ball. Got post moves. He's great defensively. Great shot blocker. So I think and he's still young. He's
He's only gonna get better.
I think that's perfect. 91 is good for him.
Well, it's time because at number 9 we've got Dame time. Damian Lillard.
Birthday boy.
Happy birthday, Dame.
Happy birthday, Dame.
Well, I'm gonna text
I know he was watching. No, I texted him the link to the stream because he's like, I need to know my rating. I'm like, well, go watch it at 5 p.m.
92.
He's like,
man.
he's watching our stream.
I don't think Dame's
birthday.
gonna be happy with the 92 though.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, look, he's the kind of guy that could definitely skyrocket this year.
for
He
sure.
had a heck of a season, and obviously the big shot in the playoffs. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the. I still think he's one of the most underrated players in the NBA. And I was going to ask you, AD, what makes him so dynamic on the court, going up against a point guard of his caliber?
He's a big guard. He can handle the ball. He can shoot from
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes him a threat. Just like Steph, like they're so big of a threat that as soon as they cross the half court, they're able to shoot the ball, with ease. And it's not a bad shot for those guys. So, as a defender, you want to press up against him, but then he's able to go around you, and find the right guy and make right plays. Or if you give him enough space, obviously we see, the end of the OKC series, what he's able to do. So it's like, well, what do you do? Pick your poison, and he always make you pay. So he's a hell of a player.
Let's go on to number 8, Paul George, who is going to be in the same city as you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to play against him a lot.
93, finalist for the NBA MVP and still 8th spot. I mean, that's pretty wild. This is look at that screenshot though. This is
that lighting, that updated lighting that fans are going to be able
right.
to check out in NBA 2K20. I know that's something people always.
What are you
look for
feeling
details.
about PG going to the other side of the locker room?
Going to take that secret tunnel?
He's gonna have to. We're gonna fight. No, but I mean, it was shocking.
That night, 11 p.m. It's like, cool.
And the crazy, I was just sitting in my room, coming from Vegas, coming back from a long night, and
I was probably there.
And the Kawhi stuff came through, and then it's Woj came right back. Oh, and they will be getting Paul George. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, hold on. So I think that was the most shocking about it all. Like, it was kept under the table and nobody really knew. And everybody was wondering why Kawhi was taking so long.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know why now, but that was the most shocking. And it's going to be fun in Staples. I'm excited.
What was your first thought when you read those tweets, Kawhi and PG together?
NBA is back.
NBA is back.
Opens it up.
It opens it up tremendously. So it's going to be a fun year.
All right. Let's get to number 7. Can we have a drum roll, please? Mr. Davis himself.
Oh, me? I'm 7? Damn. Oh, man.
I'm sorry that I built it up like that.
Why did we drum roll?
I know, right?
For AD.
All right.
She's about to get up and leave.
94. I know you started with a 94 last year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was a 94 at the start of the year.
Your game is obviously evolved.
Look, but I'm going to tell you why I kind of understand why.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the second half of the season last year was, you know, what
Not
it
a lot of
was.
minutes,
You
and
know,
yeah.
it was what it was. So, you know, people didn't really get to see me, you know, but
Well, now they
Yeah,
are.
they'll see him.
Yeah.
They'll see him now.
I might be the first 100.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You're on your way up, up, up,
First time.
and it's going to be glorious for
Yeah.
the Lake Show. So that's all
sure.
I'm going to say.
For sure.
All right, we have a live tweet coming in from the 2K community who says Anthony Davis should be a 94 overall, hashtag 2K ratings,
Anthony's like,
and
quiet
boom.
Kodak
Right,
Chris.
Kodak Chris 22.
I'm gonna
Man,
find
who
you.
are you?
I mean, he got it right. He got it right. So let's look at the summary of the top 7 through 10 players. We've got AD at 94, and then Joel Embiid at the bottom at 91 overall. So Anthony Davis, number 7. Let's take a look at the other bigs in the league. We've got Rudy Gobert at 88. And 88 overall. Defensive Player of the Year. What do you think about that?
I mean, this is the list. Look, there's some separation here, though, Anthony. Like,
yeah, I
you are head and shoulders
Rudy.
above the rest of the crew. I mean, you are by far the best of the bigs. So, and you have upside. So, what are your thoughts there?
Karl Anthony Towns, you know, he's going to obviously get better.
Yeah.
You know,
So young. I mean, people forget
yeah.
he's still like what,
he's
22,
like
23.
Yeah, 22, 23. He obviously going to get better. Rudy, good defensive player. You know, block shots. You know,
Jokic
he's
is kinda the
developing.
Jokic
He's
is-
developing his offensive game, so he'll you know be better. Jokic,
Kind of the opposite, right?
yeah, you know he's Jokic. I mean, he triple double. He do it all.
Yeah,
you know,
he
he can do it all. I think obviously if your team's winning, it helps too. Which
Yeah.
obviously, you know, I kind of like semi-win a little bit in New Orleans, and then like Carl, you know, kind of the same thing. Joel, I mean, he had 3 years to kind of soak everything in before he stepped on the floor. So he cheated a little bit, but he's a phenomenal player as well. So you know, all these guys are gonna obviously just keep.
You better be
getting better
careful,
and better.
AD. He's gonna tweet. He's gonna tweet you in a second. Like, we're gonna be in big trouble.
Nah, that's my guy. But all them guys, obviously, you know, is going to continue to get better and better. So, you know, these.
But an honor to be top of the mountain.
Oh, for sure,
by far,
for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Against the bigs, you know, it's definitely an honor.
And all these guys, like you said, they're going to get better, and this is just the starting point. So, you know, I'm going to see that 99
Yeah.
Anthony Davis
Yeah,
rating by the
no,
end of the
right,
year. I'm going to
exactly.
see a lot of these bigs are going to have the opportunity, I think, this season to really increase their rating up.
And it gives you something to fight for. You know, obviously you see these ratings, you know, for, you know, the rest of the guys, it's, I want to get here. And for me, like, I don't want them to catch me. So, you know, it's going to be fun.
I love it.
That was a great summary. I love that. So let's go to number 6 through 4. We're getting there. We're going through 6. Steph Curry.
Steph, the best shooter in NBA history, bar none. Obviously, he's going to have a big scoring load to make up for with Kevin's departure and Clay's injury. So,
Yes.
so a lot of points to be had. What do you think, Anthony?
Oh, I definitely agree. You know, I think the KD loss definitely hurts him because it took a lot of pressure off Steph.
Yeah.
To you know, do
I mean,
what he has to
he
do.
stretches the floor, so he takes the pressure off himself. But the two secondary scorers also, obviously, there's going to be
Right,
all the focus on Steph.
exactly, and it was kind of the same way. Well, it was the same way in the Toronto series when, you know, KD and Clay went out. You know, it was just so much attention on Steph. You know, and it was. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. You know, 2-time MVP.
What do you think about the
three-time
rating,
champion.
like going up or going down? Like because of that. I mean, that's kind of the big thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think it will go down.
Yeah.
You know, it can't go down, but I think it'll go up.
Yeah.
But not as much as people think. Like he got 82 games, and you know their expectations are, you know, they're still the Warriors.
Yeah.
You know, so people still expect him.
He might hit 500 threes because he's
Yeah.
got so many.
Yeah.
He'll take so many shots.
No, for
He
sure.
might.
For sure.
All right, moving on to number 5. We have James Harden.
The beard is a 96. Obviously, he's finished top 2 in MVP voting for the past 1,000 years. What do you think? I think.
I like James. You know, I think 96 fits perfectly for him. You know, can do it all. The guy averaged 30.
Yeah. In his sleep.
Yeah, you know, so I think, you know, especially with the addition of Russell, it can only go up, which is very interesting because I'm not sure how that.
How are they going to share the ball?
Yeah,
Hey, Chris was bringing it up earlier.
Yeah, they have
right?
two of the highest usage ratings in NBA history. So, but for 2K players, they're gonna love that.
Love
Just
it.
throw
Yeah,
one
they're
or
gonna
the
love
other
it.
and just
Exactly.
go to work.
They're
So,
gonna love it. So it's gonna be interesting, but I think 96 fits perfectly for James.
Nice. All right, number 4, Kevin Durant. Brooklyn Nets.
Kevin Durant, 96. He looks very angry about that rating in the screenshot, but what can this guy not do? But obviously the horrific injury. It's always challenging to talk about guys coming off injuries in terms of the 2K rating.
Yeah, and obviously he's a great player. I don't think no one, has come back from an Achilles injury and be so dominant.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people, worry about. Obviously, the stuff that came out with the Knicks and all that stuff. But he's still going to beat Kevin Durant. Like, Kevin Durant at 70% is still, like, at the top of
He can still
the
shoot
NBA,
from anywhere.
So, obviously, if he, Achilles injury didn't happen, I think he'd be higher. But it did. And, hopefully he gets, better soon. And but it's going to be fun, him in the East Coast, Brooklyn with him and Kyrie when they win.
One thing I love,
Year when they get healthy.
one thing I love about NBA fans and just NBA Twitter is that the support for these guys, right? When somebody in the league gets an injury like this devastating, it's really great to see the support among the fans, among their peers. You know what I mean? So we're all rooting for Kevin Durant to get back and healthy, and it's going to be fun when he gets back.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but even the thing that during the game when Kyle Lowry and Danny Green was telling the Toronto fans don't cheer for him.
Yeah.
That's cool, and like you said, that goes a long way. Especially all over the league, social media platforms, Twitter. Guys are
supporting. It's a brotherhood, right?
And that's a good thing. It's a good sign because it's more than basketball. It's a guy's health. So always got to take that into consideration.
The brotherhood, yeah.
We have a live tweet from a 2K community member. Let's see what they have to say. I believe that Kevin Durant should be a 96 despite his injury because he was balling out in the playoffs. I am Kevin Durant. You guys remember that? Before his injury.
It's always challenging. I mean, I was talking to Chris about this earlier. When Kobe got his injury, the same one, we dropped him to an 89. And it was also obviously a little bit later in his career, so it kind of made sense. But how do you, you just can't really prognosticate such a thing. So.
Yeah.
I'm throwing a
big word, Ryan.
I'm throwing a thesaurus out here.
You also have to think, when they do come back, like I said, talking to the ratings team, they're on it almost on a nightly basis. So they're going to look at how these players are performing, and, ratings could go up or could come down. So I think, the most important thing is obviously him getting healthy and coming back. And we hope it's this year. Achilles take a long time to recover, but it'll be really fun when he gets back in that building with Kyrie and with that team because it's going to be a good team.
All right, let's take a look at the summary for the players rated 4 through 6. Did they get it right?
I think so.
I believe so. That's the order that it should be, for sure.
All right,
even with the injury.
Let's go on to Shooter Shoot. Nothing but green, top 5 best shooters. At number 5, we have a guy that we haven't really talked about on this show, Buddy Hield.
A team we haven't talked a lot about. This team, I'm telling you, young guns and Buddy Hield's in a contract year. I think he's going to have one of those ratings that's on the rise big time. This team is on the rise. They're going to be a foe for you guys, I think, for sure, in the years to come. De'Aaron Fox, all those guys.
Yeah, they're a great young team. Just got Trevor. I think they're going to be a sleeper team in the West, but I sound like an analyst.
You have a job after your career in the NBA, for sure.
But anytime we play those guys, they're one of the teams where a lot of people sleep on just because they're young, but they play so hard and they're really talented that if you don't, play they're gonna beat you by 30.
Wow.
So these guys are, and it starts with him and De'Aaron Fox, Buddy and De'Aaron Fox. Them two have a great chemistry in that backcourt.
And shoot the lights out. That's why it's a 90. Oh, by the way, these are obviously 3-point ratings only.
Right.
So we talked about that earlier. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, when it comes up.
At number 4, we have JJ Redick.
JJ Redick, 93-pointer as well. One of the best shooters, and done it for a long time. Unlike a lot of these other guys, just a sniper from anywhere.
Yeah, and joining that Pelicans team they're going to be exciting over there in New Orleans. You know what I mean? For the way that they built that team, and JJ Redick deciding to sign there, it's going to be a good spot for him. for sure.
Move on to
You
number
should.
3. We've got Joe Harris.
Joe-
3-point
Sorry, the
contest
reason
winner.
the reason that Anthony and I are laughing is because Anthony saw Joe Harris's 3-point rating somehow and thought that was his actual rating and lost his mind. He came running in here to yell at me. He won the NBA 3-point contest at All-Star. So 94, I mean, the guy just makes threes. And that Nets squad is also one of those, like they built a young core, and then they got the 2 stars. They're scary.
AD, how important is it for bigs in this league to stretch the floor and shoot the 3?
Oh, especially where the game evolved, you know, it's huge. It's like if you can't do that, you know, you don't even fit in this league anymore,
Right.
you know, and now that's all guys want to do. You know, you see guys, obviously, like Joel Embiid, you know, 7-2 shooting the ball, you know, from 3 and at a great percentage. So, you know, you got guys, you know, who shouldn't be shooting threes, you know, 5-10 years ago, who's shooting threes. When I first came in the league, it was like frowned upon if you shot a 3.
Remember how big of a back to the basket player Brook Lopez
Yeah,
was?
and
Now he throws
He's
up
shooting 11 threes a game, like, you know, so
wild.
that's the way the league has what the league has evolved to. So it's fun.
Do you think you'll ever have a 94 3-point rating?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, but these guys can shoot like Joe Harris. Like,
Yeah,
anytime we
he's
play
deadly.
Brooklyn, he never missed.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, I expect that.
I think number 2 might be a little bit obvious, but it is KLAY Thompson.
Klay
97.
Thompson, 97. I mean,
That's not
the
bad.
guy made 11 threes in a playoff game. He hits continuous 3 after 3 for the Warriors. But he's going to be missed, like we said, 1.5 of the splash butters.
Yeah.
That's going to be challenging. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, another guy the whole world is wishing to get better, you know, from his injury that he sustained in the finals. So it's kind of crazy to think about KLAY because if his running mate didn't exist, we're probably talking about one of the, if not the greatest shooters in
Of all
NBA
time.
history.
Yep.
So I have a feeling I know what number 1 is.
Yes, the running mate, Steph Curry.
Who would have thought?
99.
99. Still 99. I mean,
I don't know. I think that's a big of a gap between him and KLAY.
Really?
Yeah, I mean,
too much?
You think
I think KLAY should be
is...
at 98 then.
Ooh, well,
I
2K
mean,
developers.
I get it.
I mean, KLAY, his catch and shoot is like, I don't know, he
That's
really
true.
doesn't miss.
Yeah.
That's
I
true.
mean, I know he don't have that off the dribble, you know, or, you know, like Steph can come down and shoot from, you know, the other 3-point line.
I mean, he's
but
got to be one of
he's-
KLAY. Since we're talking about KLAY, like one of the best catch and shoot 3-pointer shooters of all time for sure. No, he took that
I mean,
11 dribbles that.
Yeah,
that he,
like, and had the ball for like a minute and a half and scored 55. Like, but I don't know. I'll give KLAY 97 and a half. Then I'm gonna give him 97.
Okay, a half rating. I like that. Let's look at the summary of the top 5 shooters. I know Anthony has a problem with maybe KLAY's rating, but what do you guys think about the overalls?
I think the ranking. I think these are unquestionably the top 5 guys.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just a matter of where you
for
want
sure. And it'll be
give him a couple
interesting
points.
to see how D'Angelo Russell fits in with the new Warriors squad because I wonder if he'll, you know, make it to the top whatever list, right? Like it'll be interesting to see how his 3-point shooting will evolve, and it will under Steve Kerr and that team and running with Steph this season. That'll be a lot of fun.
I got to diverge for a second.
Oh, no.
No, I'm sorry. I just do this. Anthony, your shoe game, 99 for sure.
All right, so should we rate these, all of our shoes?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Okay, starting, are you going to be the rater?
Yeah, I'm gonna be the rater.
Okay, let's
right.
start with
Anthony
me.
So,
start.
look.
Wait, hold on.
My favorite color is blue. Anyway, you know, I don't know much about heels, but since it's blue, I'll give you 96.
Ooh, a
96,
96.
yeah.
Good thing I shaved today.
Obviously, you know, the Jordan 1 Miami's obviously a 99.
I mean, seriously.
No, I'll give him a 98.
Those are
I'll give him a
dope.
98. 98.
Me and
98,
Anthony almost wore the
98.
same shoes today,
Yeah.
by the way. That would have been
But
awkward.
Ronnie, you got the fair guys.
Yeah.
Oh, this is tough. But Ronnie got some custom, you
Shoe
know,
the shoe surgeons.
2K shoes. Dominic, shoe surgeon, you know.
I mean, they're NBA.
They're-
They say NBA 2K on it. If there was
Yeah,
ever
like
a day
they're
to wear
like-
them,
But
it's
you gotta show
Ronnie-
the other one though. You
Turn
gotta
around
show
a
the
little
2K
bit.
one though.
The other one.
Ronnie
Right.
2K and Urban
Okay,
Dictionary
right?
actually
A
A
Yeah,
little
right.
bit
Flex.
closer.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Look at that.
So that's for sure 99 because you would never have these one-of-ones. You know, so that's a 99.
Thank you.
You
Thanks.
know, and then
I
obviously
I went with the fear guys today.
Those
Yeah.
are good, too. Jerry's
Yeah,
killed
no.
it with those.
another 98. So 98, 98. We gonna bump it up because it's too big of a gap. You know, we go 97 and a half, and then you know Ronnie gets to 99.
100. First 100 of the
First
game.
first 100.
There we go.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Well, this is what everybody's been waiting for, right? It's
Top
the
three.
top three. We obviously have left Giannis, Kawhi, LeBron. Who is going at number 3?
I mean, wow. MVP, biggest playoff performance in years, and then the king. I mean, how do you go wrong?
I think I know the order. Now, I haven't seen this, just in case I get this right. I'm going to go 90. Number 3 will be, I think, Kawhi
Okay.
at 90.
So KD was a 96.
97.
Right? Yep.
I'm going to go.
I know it's tough.
I hate to do this. You're going to see me every day. I'm going to have to go LeBron 2. Just because he missed a lot of he missed a lot of games last year, because the groin, and they were, in fourth with a drop. With the
Alexa's over there.
I know, these
let me
takes are
switch.
getting hot.
I'm going to switch it. Damn, I don't want to do it no more.
you do
Okay,
you.
you don't have to do it
You
anymore.
do you. He already said it. Let him
LeBron,
finish.
number 2, also 97. And then Giannis, number 1.
At a
98.
98.
Interesting. And, fans have been debating the top-rated players all day long using hashtag 2K ratings. So it's going to be interesting to see who the top 3 are.
Yeah.
Let's go to number 3. It is the 2019
I was
MVP.
going to say that just because I knew it. I was going to say that at first. I was going to say that. I was going to say that, but the thing, I'm like, all right, you got to take into account MVP, Eastern Conference Finals,
Yeah, I mean, I think the
That's
playoffs
tough.
turned to that point. Chris and I were talking about that earlier. Obviously, the MVP. But here's the thing. He's only going to get better. He's averaged 27.7, but he did shoot 29% from 3. It's rough, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's got to develop the shot.
Yeah.
We were talking about Ben earlier. It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's no really guarding Giannis, but there was one man in the playoffs that could guard him, right? And we're going to see him in the top 2 now. So it was interesting to see them up 2-0 on the Raptors and then to lose 4 straight. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. But
How good is Giannis going to be, though? I mean,
really good. Like you said, once you develop a jump shot,
Yeah.
And he gotten better during the season, but once it's like consistent, where you can't. First of all, you can't stay in front of him regardless.
Yeah.
Regardless, he left, right. He's jumping from the bench and dunking, like he's doing everything, But when he's able to develop a consistent jump shot, where now you have to pick your poison, kind of like Dame.
Yeah.
He's going to be very unguardable.
Yeah.
So now we have the top 2 left. It's obviously between Kawhi and LeBron. So you said LeBron at 2.
Battle of LA, right?
Yeah, battle in LA. You
Oh,
said LeBron.
Kawhi's too.
Kawhi's
Kawhi's
2?
one, yeah.
All right, but are you just
I just
saying
thought
that?
Giannis. No, I'm just saying that because of LA. But but that's because I had Giannis first. But in all seriousness, though, I'm putting LeBron at 2, Kawhi 1.
Ooh.
Won a
All
champion,
right,
coming off a
Yeah, yeah.
championship, Finals MVP.
I'm going to agree with 80. Like, I think what Leonard did in that playoffs just made a massive statement, and I think that finally LeBron may lose his mantle as the top-rated NBA 2K player after all these years. Chris, I mean, this is the biggest Lakers fan ever, so.
I know.
well, let's get to number 2.
That's
Wait,
all you're going to say?
He
Let's get to
knows.
number
It's
2.
Kawhi. Kawhi's number 2. He knows.
Let's get to
Oh,
number 2.
all right.
Let's get to
Drum
number
roll,
2,
please.
then I will
And
give
from
you my
everybody,
top 3.
from Chris to number 2. Kawhi Leonard.
So here's the thing.
LJ, I had your back, better.
There's one king of the North, but there's still a king of the NBA. So remember, ratings have a lot of different things that go into the formulas. So rounded up, rounded down. But
This was so close. I'm
this
sure.
this was interesting. So Kawhi number 2. Listen, I get it. What he did was unprecedented. Going to Toronto. I mean, he didn't get to the preferred destination that he wanted in San Antonio. Literally traded him to another country, and he brought a championship to that country, and really took even this offseason by storm. So, I think the Clippers are going to be fantastic defensively, and in 2K, if you're an off-baller, you know, you're going to have like a heavenly team to play off-ball defense with the Clippers. So I think Kawhi's right where he needs to be at that rating. I mean, we're debating a 97 like it's a bad thing.
Right,
It's an unbelievable rating. Well deserved.
So then LeBron at number 1.
Yes.
So
Rated at 97.
he has had the mantle of the top-rated NBA 2K player since NBA 2K7, and he has not given it up throughout an entire season. It's going to be interesting to see if he can just continue to hold. I mean, he's been the king. He's been the king of NBA 2K ratings since basically he started as 78, and he didn't get to the top rating until 2K7. But now, I mean, this is going to be it's now his 17,000th season in the league. But I mean, he just continues to play at this unbelievably high level, and now with this guy as his teammate, it's sky's the limit.
Yeah, we for sure gonna keep him at that top, top spot.
Unless you go and get your 100. That's
right. That's it.
All right, let's look at the summary. Top 3 rated players.
Yeah, I mean,
LeBron,
again, we
Kawhi,
could. You can't go wrong. Obviously, Anthony had a different list here. To be honest, I have a different list as well. But it's like, what's that expression? Cutting, whatever, whiskers.
I have no idea.
We don't know.
No idea
we don't
what
know
you're
what you're
saying,
talking about.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I will say, I think this is all well deserved for these guys, and really just all these ratings it's such a highly debated thing. You know what I mean? Like I was talking in the interview you saw earlier, I told Mike Stauffer and his team, who actually does the ratings, like you could put 4 of us right here, and we probably wouldn't agree on ratings anyway if we debated them. So it's just such a great topic of conversation, and it's interesting to see. And like I said, this is just the base point. I think a lot of teams are going to go up and down, and it's going to be interesting to see as the season
That's why we
progresses.
sort of did it here at the Twitter headquarters, because this starts on social media at the end of the day. Of course, everybody can go on and use the hashtag 2K ratings to debate this. If we're wrong, I'm sure the NBA players are already doing it.
So they
We'll hear
did
about
go on social media, and they did use the hashtag 2K
cool.
rating. So let's see what people are debating about from the 2K community. So Giovanni says LeBron should not be the highest rating in this 2K, which some of you said.
Yeah,
it is going to be debated
it's a
on
debate.
social media.
for sure.
He should be the highest rated on NBA 2K.
A little bit of bias. Moving on to the next tweet. Giannis should be a 98 or a 99. Thank God.
Thank God for autocorrect. I love that. That's amazing. What was it autocorrect on the name, or was it the autocorrect on the rating? That's what I want to know.
I think it's the name.
No, I think it's the
It could
rating.
be either. Yeah, I mean, again, this is going to be widely debated for the next, all the way up until 2K20 is released.
All right, we have one more tweet, and that is from Jake, who says, well, you guys were pretty much...
That's what Anthony
yeah,
was
they were
saying.
Kawhi brought an NBA championship to Toronto, was the finals MVP, and had clutch shots through the playoffs. He should be at least a 95 or higher, and he, like you said, he is a 97, so they were right.
You know what the craziest thing about that is? Kawhi was actually hurt during that playoff run. Like, isn't that crazy to think about? Like, so, yeah, it's...
But that's what's going to make
wild.
this season so much fun.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah. First time in a while that there's no typical cheesy 2K team, right? Like, the Warriors have always been the team you just go, you're like, oh, really, you're going to play the Warriors?
Right.
This year, I don't think there's
Did people
anything
try to
like
pull
that.
that on you? Like, they'd be like, oh, I'm using the Warriors. You're like,
Nah,
nah.
we do random. We don't.
Yeah,
Okay, I like it. I like
If
it.
you can play 2K, you can play 2K. I need this team.
Yeah.
You can't
There you
play
go.
2K. You only can play with that team. We're going random, and let's battle it out.
The conversation isn't over, though. You guys can go online, use the hashtag 2K ratings, and debate this stuff.
Yeah, and if you're an NBA player, we have that same mechanism we had last year, which is you want your rating, just tweet me, and I'll send you a screenshot with your rating. And it's only really the beginning. We revealed the top 20. There's so much movement throughout the league, so this is just a little taste of what's to remain.
Well, Chris, Ronnie, thank you so much. Thank you, Anthony, for coming to our studios here at Twitter headquarters and joining the show today.
What a great analyst.
I know.
No,
Cover
I
star,
know.
analyst,
I wasn't being biased in any of my answers.
future
you know,
99
it's
rating.
like-
I mean,
100,
Yeah.
100.
future 100 rating.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching at home. Thank you to the 2K community, and thank you to everyone behind the scenes who made this show possible. We will see you in NBA 2K20.
They don't wanna see you shining. They don't wanna see the diamond. They don't wanna see you riding. They don't wanna see you pull a foreign with a bunch of foreigns right behind it. They don't wanna see you pull a foreign with a foreign bitch right inside it.